Good evening. We'll now call the business session of December 3rd, 2019 to order at 6 p.m. Welcome to our guests. We provide an opportunity for the public to address the City Council on any agenda item or during the hearing of visitors portion of the agenda. On items other than public hearings, speakers will be allotted one 3-minute presentation regardless of the number of agenda items the speaker wishes to address. If you're here to speak and haven't filled out a registration card, please see the City Secretary staff at the registration table outside the auditorium so that staff can contact you if necessary. If you have handouts, please let us know at the beginning of your presentation and staff will distribute those to the council. If you are unable to approach the podium due to physical limitations, a microphone is available to be brought to you. When called to the podium, please state your name and address for the record. Each speaker must limit comments to 3 minutes. If you are speaking on behalf of a group of 10 or more individuals present, please have those persons stand at the beginning of your comments and you will be given 10 minutes to address the council. Please note that if you stand in support of a person getting 10 minutes to speak, you are forfeiting your right to speak on that item. For any person addressing the council through the use of a translator, the speaking time will be doubled to accommodate the translation service. Now please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Our first item of business is to approve the minutes of the November 19, 2019 meeting. Are there any changes? Those will stand approved as written. We have 2 public hearings tonight. The first is public hearing 2019-915.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and Council. This is a public hearing in accordance with the requirements of Texas Tax Code Section 312.002C-1 to consider a resolution reauthorizing the tax abatement policy by adopting the City of Waco guidelines and policy statement for tax abatement for real and personal property for a period of 2 years. Chapter 312 of the Texas Tax Code requires that a municipality must adopt guidelines for tax abatement before it can grant tax abatement agreements. Thereafter, a municipality may only enter into tax abatement agreements that meet its adopted guidelines. The guidelines are effective for 2 years from the date of adoption. Effective September 1, 2019, Chapter 312 also requires that a public hearing be held at which members of the public are given the opportunity to be heard regarding the adoption, amendment, repeal, or reauthorization of tax abatement guidelines and criteria. Notice of this public hearing was published in the Waco Tribune-Herald on November 1st, 2019.
Thank you, Paulette. Any questions for staff? I'll open a public hearing. Is there anyone here who would like to speak on this item? Seeing no one, will close the public hearing. Is there a motion?
Move for approval.
Second.
Any discussion? Please poll the council.
Holmes.
Aye.
Meek.
Yes.
Kennard.
Yes.
Sabido. Yes. Fairfield.
Yes.
Deaver.
Yes, that motion carries. Public hearing 2019-916.
Honorable Mayor and Council, this is a public hearing on an appeal of a variance granted to allow one horse to be kept at 4608 Cole Avenue. On November 8, 2019, the Animal Welfare Board Subcommittee voted 3-0 to grant a variance allowing the residents at 4608 Cole Avenue to keep one horse there until May 31st, 2020, subject to the following conditions. Adequate shelter provided for the horse prior to the horse's arrival, daily manure removal and maintenance, fly control as needed, water and food provided for the horse, and at least one visit from animal control during the duration of the variance.
Questions for staff? We'll open a public hearing. Is the party who filed the appeal against this granted variance here to speak? All right, would you like to speak? If you would, approach the podium, please. Please state your name and address, and you'll have 3 minutes to speak, please.
My name is Connie Serta, and I live at 4609 Cole, right across the street from the people who are wanting to have this horse.
Just a minute, I'm sorry. I thought the appellate was on Colonial.
That's on Cole.
Cole.
Okay, I'm sorry. I misunderstood that earlier in the presentation. Go ahead.
Well, anyway, I was just wanting to appeal this because I just don't feel like a horse needs to be in the backyard. I think it just needs to be somewhere it can run free, more yard. This is actually in the city. I don't want to wake up with the smell of flies and manure, and I really don't think that they're going to be upkeeping that horse. I really don't think so.
Thank you. Okay, have you, the horse is not there yet, is that my
I
understanding?
don't think so.
Okay.
I
you
know
haven't
that
seen
they've got a
anything.
truck and a trailer getting, I guess, ready for it. I hadn't seen it unless it's back there and I hadn't seen it. so.
Okay, all right. Are there any other questions for the appellant?
Did you receive the request from the Animal Welfare Board to weigh in on whether you?
Yes, I
carried it?
did, and I was going to come to the first hearing, and I missed it. I worked nights, so,
I just want to make sure we're getting a good
yeah,
count
I
of
did,
people.
so.
Thank you.
All right.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you. You'll have an opportunity to come back at the end, if, I believe. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, is there anyone else here who would like to speak in opposition to the granted variance? All right, anyone here who would like to speak in favor of the variance? Is the party that was granted the variance not here?
They're here. Well, and remember, they're using a Spanish translator.
Okay, so we need to give them a minute. All right. Okay, if you could come to the podium, please. If you could state your name and address for the record, and we understand you'll be working with a translator.
Janet Muñoz. El motivo del cual estoy solicitando el caballo es por mi menor hijo de 5 años que tiene.
The reason why I am requesting the horse is for my child that's 5 years of age.
El niño tiene parálisis cerebral.
He has cerebral palsy.
Él ha tenido 5 cirugías.
He's had 5 surgeries.
Y ahorita quieren hacerle una cirugía por su cadera.
They are currently wanting to perform surgery on his hip.
Y para evitar esa cirugía solamente es mediante la terapia de un caballo para que sus huesos se puedan amoldar.
That therapy is only during the time frame with the horse so that the bones can mold.
Él no puede tener una cirugía más porque él en las cirugías que ha tenido ha estado infectado por el staph.
He cannot have any additional surgeries because the previous surgeries has been infected with a staph infection.
Entonces tengo 6 meses para nosotros ayudarle a sus huesos a moldear.
We have 6 months to be able to help him for his bones to be molded as they should be.
Y esa es la razón por la cual solicité el poder tener un caballo en casa o la mayor parte del tiempo cuando el niño pueda tener que pueda tener acceso a montar el caballo.
So that's my reason for requesting the horse is so that during the time frame that the child can be able to utilize the horse for that period of time.
Por las circunstancias de la salud de mi hijo,
Due to my child's health issues,
yo necesito vivir dentro de la ciudad,
I have to live within the city limits,
estar cerca del hospital,
be close to the hospital,
estar cerca del lugar de las terapias,
be close to therapists.
porque él recibe terapia física, ocupacional y del habla.
He has therapy, physical, occupational, and speech.
Y esa es la razón por la cual yo solicité el caballo,
That is the reason why I requested the horse,
tomando en cuenta que yo iba a considerar la limpieza,
taking into consideration that I'm aware of, with reference to cleanliness,
el mantenimiento del caballo,
the maintenance of the horse,
el cual demostré que lo llevé al veterinario, que es un caballo sano, tranquilo, es una yegua.
So I took the horse to the veterinarian. He's a healthy horse, female horse.
Y esa es la razón por la cual Básicamente estoy solicitando el caballo por salud de mi hijo.
That's basically the reason why I'm requesting the horse for my son's health.
Okay, thank you.
Gracias.
I have a few questions, but others may have questions too.
Una pregunta para usted, and I'll say it in Spanish and then I'll translate for everyone. ¿La terapia es recomendada por el doctor? La terapia del caballo, perdón.
Definitivamente.
The therapy was recommended, the horse therapy was recommended by a doctor. She said definitely.
Sin embargo, quisiera comentarles, el caballo no lo he podido llevar porque mi hijo le hicieron otra cirugía en su dedo.
To inform you, I've not been able to take the horse because they did another surgery on my son on his finger, dedo de pie o de mano.
Del dedo del pie.
He had foot surgery on a nail on his foot.
Entonces, no he tenido el caballo, no hay malos olores, no hay nada todavía en la casa como me lo han estado haciendo saber.
So
Todavía no.
the horse is not there yet. There are not bad odors. He has not been brought there or any of the complaints that have been brought forth.
Y solamente lo pido por humanidad, ¿verdad? Por solidaridad a un bebé que está luchando por su vida.
I'm requesting that as an effort to create unity with the ability to be able to help my child with con su salud, with reference to his health.
Y los 6 meses es suficiente? I asked her if the 6 months was sufficient time for.
Consideramos que sí porque los huesos del niño ahorita están en ese proceso de adaptación.
We think that would be fine because the child's bones are in that process of adaptation or adjusting.
Okay.
Incluso yo estoy pensando, ¿verdad? Que no todo el tiempo, porque es trabajo para nosotros también el tener que limpiarle al caballo, llevarlo a las afueras de la ciudad donde lo vamos a estar llevando al
So
caballo.
I was also thinking with reference to the horse, because there's a lot of work involved, also being able to have the horse here and then taking them back. Siga.
Que probablemente nada más lo llevaría esporádicamente a la casa, nada más a que el niño lo monte, 3, 4 veces por semana.
So I would take the horse there to the home, maybe 2 or 3 times a week, so that the child can be able to mount on the horse.
Porque lo principal que yo quiero es que también mi hijo vive en la limpieza, ¿verdad?
The main thing is for my child also to live in cleanliness,
Que sea algo saludable para él.
something that's going to be a clean environment that's going to be beneficial for his health.
Pero siempre y cuando se cumpla la meta para lograr que sus huesos se puedan adaptar.
And taking into consideration also that the goal is being able to have his bones adapt.
Gracias. Thank you.
The only question I had is, once the 6 months are
Es que
over,
los 6 meses han
will the horse
terminado.
still be on the
El
property?
caballo va a estar sobre la propiedad cuando terminen esos 6 meses.
No, el caballo ya no va a estar. Yo no compré el caballo es de mis suegros y solamente lo vamos a regresar a su casa de origen.
The horse belongs to my in-laws, and so the idea is to take the horse back to its place of origin, would be with them.
The variance expires on
May
May 30th,
20th,
so,
yeah.
yeah. Any other questions?
I had a question. Is the fence sufficient to hold the horse
Es suficiente fuerte para detener el caballo.
of good quality?
Es de calidad.
Sí, es completamente de madera,
It-
de los vecinos.
Yes, the neighbor's fence is all wood,
Y aparte está cercado con alambre.
and it's also enclosed with a chain link fence.
Y vuelvo a repetir, es una yegua que sé que es bastante tranquila y que es algo seguro tanto para, primordialmente para mi hijo.
So it's a horse that's very safe.
Tame.
I take into consideration with reference to my child also.
Sin embargo, les vuelvo a repetir y aunque suene muy repetitivo, lo hago como madre.
I repeat, and it might be repetitive what I'm saying, but I am doing this as a mother.
He pasado muchas situaciones muy delicadas con mi hijo,
I've gone through very delicate situations with regards to my son,
con cirugía tras cirugía,
surgery after surgery,
donde él en este punto no podría ir a una cirugía más.
where at this point, he is not able to have any additional surgery.
Para mí es bastante necesario poder obtener el caballo y les digo, yo estoy pensando también en mis vecinos, por eso...
Permíteme. I feel that it's very important and necessary to be able to have the horse. I do take into consideration my neighbors. Siga.
Por eso estoy pensando llevar el caballo, traerlo, llevarlo, traerlo, para que no se genere a lo mejor tanta inconformidad.
So the goal is to be able to take the horse, bring him back, and just transport him back and forth so that there's not any discomfort for the neighbors as far as animal droppings or whatever.
Other questions? I do have a few questions. First, I want to commend you on your desire to help your child. I certainly understand that, and all of us who are parents understand that. You said that a doctor prescribed the horse therapy?
¿El terapia de caballo?
Sí,
Yeah.
de hecho él recibe terapia de caballo una vez por semana.
He's actualmente.
Sí,
Currently, he is receiving horse therapy once a week.
He is. One of the local horse therapy programs?
Uno de los programas de terapia locales.
este lugar está para rumbo a McGregor.
This location is toward McGregor,
Reach Therapy in McGregor?
Sí, correcto.
correct?
Y nada más que sin embargo, a mí lo que me apremia es el tiempo.
So what I am feeling the crunch is with reference to time.
Durante los últimos 2 meses, por razón de a veces de que no hay un lugar en el como sí es un lugar propio, pero no hay techo para que el niño pueda ir a montar. Entonces se suspende porque si está como un poquito lluvioso.
So it is an appropriate place, but since that location, it does not have a roof, if it's raining or wet, then it's not going to protect my child.
Y les vuelvo a repetir, yo estoy contra el tiempo, por eso es que necesito la terapia del caballo, que no me falle por semana.
So I repeat again, I'm fighting against time so that the use of the horse on a weekly basis.
Right. So, but you don't have a shelter at your house either, in your backyard, do you?
Techo atrás de su casa con referente para el caballo.
Solamente él necesita el techo que nos había comentado la inspector que teníamos que hacer para él.
The inspector had recommended a roof. We have that.
Okay, but in terms of doing the therapy, you can't do the therapy at home when it's raining either, correct?
Usted tampoco puede hacer la terapia en casa cuando está lloviendo, ¿verdad?
No, ¿qué es lo que le comento? Cuando esté lloviendo, yo estoy pensando en que el caballo no estaría ahí.
So I'm thinking in terms of when it's raining, the horse would not be there.
Okay. This is just a very difficult case because we know that you want to help your child. We also have to balance that against the rights of the neighbors not to have odor and flies and all the problems that can go with a horse. When your child rides at the Reach program, does he ride with a therapist?
¿Él monta con un terapista o cómo funciona eso?
Él monta con mi esposo.
He rides with my husband.
There is no therapist
No hay terapista ahí.
walking
Cuando lo
alongside?
haga en casa, no, él lo va a hacer con mi esposo porque
When he's at home, no, he will be riding with my husband. Because?
Porque la creencia que se tiene es que cuando alguien más monta con el niño, entonces el caballo hace este balance, que es lo que él necesita para su tórax y para su estómago.
So when someone mounts the horse with the child and he goes with a forward motion, That will help his thorax. ¿Y qué más?
sobre todo para su cadera, que es la parte donde le piensan hacer la cirugía.
And principally his hips, which is the area that they plan on doing surgery.
Y la terapia difiere un poquito porque no cubre la aseguranza, solamente cubre al niño.
The therapy is it's a little bit difficult because it covers the child only.
Entonces,
The insurance, excuse me, the
insurance,
insurance.
right.
entonces, en casa es como podríamos avanzarle o ganarle un poquito más al tiempo, porque entonces él tendría como la terapia más profunda.
So at home, we would be able to catch up on time because he would have more profound therapy. It would be more concentrated therapy
And more frequent.
and frequent.
And my concern is that in talking to some therapists today, they told me that more therapy, more than once a week may not be good, and it definitely needs to be done with a trained therapist. And so I'm concerned about whether we're really helping the situation or not. And I know that you don't want to do anything except help your child. Okay, go ahead.
Excuse me to interrupt.
Si mi esposo no supiera de caballos, nosotros no arriesgaríamos a mi hijo.
If my husband did not know anything about horses, I would not put my child at risk.
I understand. But did the doctor who prescribed the horse therapy prescribe that it occur more than once a week?
¿Ocurriera más de una vez a la semana?
Sí,
Yes.
Did. How often did he prescribe it?
Frecuentemente prescribió él para qué, o recetó él para qué.
por lo menos 3 veces por semana es lo recomendado.
The recommended was 3 times a week.
Okay. And so you said you were going to try to bring the horse in back and forth. Where will you have the horse the rest of the time?
Tienes el caballo el resto del tiempo que vas a traer y venir el caballo.
Está en el condado de Cross,
¿Cuál?
por donde está Lacey
¿Cómo se
Lakeview,
llama el
más
condado?
adelante.
¿Cómo se llama el condado?
Ross.
He's in Ross County.
Where, I'm sorry?
Ross County.
The town, Roth,
The town of Ross?
El pueblo de Ross. Yes.
right by Elmore.
Just north of town.
Okay.
So I didn't understand either, Mayor. Just when the horse is going to be used for the therapy, they'll bring the horse in for a couple hours and then take him back to Ross? Or is it just intermittently? Or I understood that it was going to be there 24/7 for 6 months.
Horas, 7 días a la semana por meses.
Pues básicamente eso era como a un principio, ¿verdad? Dejarlo ahí 24/7,
That was the idea at the beginning, to have him there 24/7.
pero debido a, después de la junta que tuvimos donde fue la aprobación,
After the meeting where it was approved,
hubo 3 personas que se inconformaron de 2 casas.
from 2 homes, 3 people were not happy about that.
No están cerca de nosotros, los vecinos que tengo a los lados no se inconformaron.
These individuals are not close to the home. My neighbors are not upset about it,
Ni el vecino de atrás.
nor the neighbor behind me.
Sin embargo, tomando eso, ¿verdad? Yo no quiero ser una persona desconsiderada.
But taken into consideration, I don't want to be a person that's inconsiderate.
Pensé que por lo menos mi hijo pudiera montarlo martes, sábado y domingo, y entonces tener yo ese tiempo para ir allá por el caballo, llevarlo a la casa.
So the idea was to be able to have my son get on the horse Tuesday, Saturday, and Sunday, take the horse back, pick him up and take him back.
Y el fin de semana a lo mejor dejarlo, que es cuando yo puedo limpiar, dedicarme completamente a que mi hijo esté en el caballo y mi esposo, y estar limpio el caballo, y el lunes que él va a la escuela, regresar el caballo a...
So weekends is good because then I would have time to be able to take care of any cleaning area while my husband is riding the horse with him. And then Monday, we would return. ¿Regresaría el caballo el lunes?
Sí.
We would return the horse on Monday.
So you would be okay with modifying the variance to allow the horse to just be there 3 days per week?
3 días a la semana, ¿estás contento?
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Any further questions?
Observations on insurance this afternoon, but in this case, it really is not pertinent.
Okay.
Me da mucha pena, les vuelvo a repetir, recurrir a esta situación.
I'm very, I feel embarrassed to be able to have to be in this situation.
Si pudiera llevarme al hospital, a un condado, lo haría.
If I could take the hospital to another county, I would do it.
Pero
I-
no se puede.
I understand. You should not feel embarrassed to be trying to take care of your child.
No se sienta penada de cuidar a su hijo. Usted es mamá. No se sienta penada.
No tenga pena. Thank you.
Councilmember Sabido, if you could translate into English what you
I'm
just
sorry, I
said.
just said that she shouldn't be embarrassed about trying to be the best mom she can be.
Thank you. Okay, thank you very much.
Gracias. Thank you, you're very kind.
Yes.
Is there anyone else here who would like to speak in favor of the variance being granted? All right, I will give the appellant, the person who was against the variance, a chance for a brief rebuttal. If you'd like to speak one more time. I don't see her. Is she still here?
She's here.
Would you like to speak again? Okay, thank you very much. All right, we'll close the public hearing. Is there a motion?
I'll move that we uphold the decision of the Animal Welfare Subcommittee. Is that the right way to say that, Jennifer?
To affirm it?
To affirm it, but I would like to inject some modifications if I could. One is I would like, and tell me if we can do this or not, but to make sure that the fence is of sufficient quality that per staff's judgment call, it appears that the horse will be secure.
So I would suggest that any modifications be definite enough so that it can be enforced.
Okay.
And so,
I hear that.
Yeah.
I'll withdraw that one. But what, is there another, do we have anything in our ordinance currently that would allow any animal that's being a nuisance from a smell perspective or otherwise? I mean, one of the concerns I have is that even if manure is being removed daily, if there is still a nuisance that's occurring for the neighbors, is there a vehicle or means with which this variance could be withdrawn?
So that's an interesting question, Councilmember Meek. The variance,
you could introduce yourself for the record.
David Shaw, Assistant City Attorney. The nuisance animal statute or ordinance deals with neighbors within 600 feet of the residence. If a certain proportion of them, I guess, petition together, then they could bring that, again, back to the board or even to council, but that could have that animal reevaluated. In that case, it is kind of a conflicting question of which would control if the animal does become a nuisance.
But there is a vehicle for complaining if it...
There is.
Okay. Last question for staff is, have we seen the medical recommendation for any sort of medical recommendation for this?
No.
Wait, you're going to need to come to the microphone
I'm
and
sorry.
introduce yourself.
Danielle Tate, Animal Services Administrator. No, we were not provided the actual prescription per se from a doctor.
I would think that I would like to see, I think it'd be good for staff to see some sort of, it doesn't have to be prescription, but some sort of medical recommendation that this would be beneficial. Is that concrete enough?
Sure, so do you want the order dependent on that, or?
I think so. I think if we're gonna allow a
Okay.
horse, I mean, if this really is for the medical condition and development, then I think some sort of medical recommendation.
So you want to affirm the Animal Welfare Board Subcommittee's decision conditioned upon receiving a note from a doctor saying that this kind of therapy is required?
Correct.
And then,
Or beneficial.
Or
Not even
beneficial,
required,
okay,
but just
okay.
at the lowest level of beneficial.
Okay, and then conditioned on the conditions that they already set?
Correct.
Are you comfortable with adding a number of days limitation to
Sure.
that?
If they're good with 3 days, then I think
3
we
days a
could
week.
make it a 3-day week as well.
All right. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Can we be particular on what days it's allowed so that animal control can be
So they said Friday, they said Saturday, Sunday, and Tuesday were the days that they needed. You're just saying from the ability to inspect it, it needs to be limited to. a
Yeah,
certain
I think if we're going to be able to uphold the motion that's being discussed, we need to know what days. It'd be easier to track if we knew it was Tuesday, Saturday, Sunday.
Can we ask the applicant for the original variance, what days are preferred if we're gonna?
I think she said that.
Okay.
Maybe she,
Tuesday, Saturday, and Sunday.
I'm good with that.
if you could return to the podium, please, for just a minute.
Just wanna.
Sorry, this is a little unusual.
My question was it Tuesday, Saturday, Sunday? Would those be the 3 days? If we restricted it to those 3 days, would that be workable?
Sí, el sábado nosotros tenemos disponible para poder trasladarnos, ir a levantar el caballo, tenerlo ya todo el resto del sábado para que el niño pueda montarlo. El domingo, el lunes lo regresamos y el martes que el niño no tiene ninguna terapia, ninguna cita, entonces iríamos por la mañana por el caballo.
Permíteme. So Saturday, we have the time frame to be able to pick up the horse, bring him over, be there the weekend, and then to be return him on Sunday. Tuesday, su hijo no tiene que?
No tiene ninguna cita.
He has no appointments at
terapia.
all or therapy at all on Tuesdays.
Entonces iríamos por el caballo el martes
We would go for the horse on Tuesday,
para que en la tarde esté montando él y el miércoles en la mañana lo llevamos de regreso a...
so he would be able to, in the afternoon, ride the horse, and then Wednesday morning would return the horse.
Si hay algo que yo vea que no va a estar bien con el caballo o a la primera que el inspector pueda ir y corroborar que no está, que está habiendo algo,
If there is something that I see that is not right, or if the inspector should go there and see that something is not right there,
yo misma voy a llevar el caballo de regreso.
I will myself return the horse.
So maybe we limit it to 2 nights. Would that be Saturday night and Tuesday night? Is that?
I think she was saying Saturday night, Sunday night, and Tuesday night. So they would take them back Monday morning and bring them back Tuesday and then take them back Wednesday morning.
Y luego recogerlo el martes. Pasa la noche el martes el caballo, lo regresan el
All
miércoles.
right. Well, but then it'll be there on Wednesday.
Serían 3 noches, ¿verdad?
Okay. I'm going to suggest that we say from 8 a.m. Saturday morning till noon on Monday,
Hasta
and from 8 a.m. Tuesday till noon on Wednesday.
Works.
That's great.
Okay with you for your motion?
That's great for my motion.
Okay.
And so one more question. ¿Usted tiene?
I guess, do I need to reopen the public hearing for this?
Or
I'm not sure we ever closed it.
I don't think you did.
Tiene un papel del doctor que dice que recomienda la terapia. I asked her if she has documentation from a doctor saying that he recommends the therapy.
Sí, él directamente lo envía a donde nos están otorgando la terapia actualmente del caballo, pero yo puedo solicitar con él que nos den el caballo, el papel para entregarlo con
So he's directly sending the horse, sending my child to the horse for having that therapy, but I can request directly from the doctor that information.
Then no.
Okay.
Do you feel like you have a clear motion?
Let me,
We will replay it multiple times if we don't understand.
let's close the public hearing, and we'll.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Gracias.
A clean motion? Okay, I'm gonna recommend, I'm going to move that we uphold the subcommittee's decision to allow the horse to be in the backyard with the current conditions plus some sort of written documentation from a doctor indicating that said therapy will be beneficial, and limiting the hours of the horses being there from 8 a.m. on Saturday morning through noon on Monday, and what times did we say on Tuesday?
8 a.m.
8 a.m. on Tuesday
To
through
noon on Wednesday.
noon on Wednesday? Okay, that's my motion.
Second.
Great. Thank you for clarifying your motion. Is there any further discussion?
Holmes?
Aye.
Meek?
Yes.
Kennard? Yes. Sabido?
Yes.
Fairfield? Yes. Deaver?
That motion carries. We have the consent agenda tonight consisting of resolutions 2019-917 through 2019-937, with the exception of 2019-936. Is there a motion on the consent agenda?
Move approval of the consent agenda.
Second.
Any discussion? Please poll the council.
Holmes?
Aye.
Meek?
Yes.
Kennard? Sabido?
Yes.
Fairfield? Deaver?
Yes, that motion carries. We have 7 ordinances tonight. The first is ordinance 2019-938.
An ordinance approving a developer participation agreement with the Blake at Waco LLC to allow the city of Waco to participate in the total cost for oversizing of improvements required by the city for and related to the development to be known as the Blake at Waco Senior Living Facility and to be located at Lot 13, Block 4 of the Texas Central South Edition, in an amount not to exceed the lump sum of $70,000 in accordance with local government code sections 212.071 through 212.074, authorizing the city manager to execute any documents in connection therewith, repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, providing a severability clause, and finding and terminating the meeting at which this ordinance is passed is open to the public as required by law. This ordinance comes to council on first reading.
Okay, is there a motion?
Motion for approval on first reading.
Second.
Any discussion? Please poll the council.
Holmes?
Aye.
Meek?
Yes.
Kennard? Sabido?
Yes.
Fairfield?
Yes.
Deaver?
Yes, that motion carries. Ordinance 2019-939.
Ordinance amending Chapter 13 Licenses, Permits, and Business Regulations of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Waco, Texas by amending portions of Article 13, Bed and Breakfast Facilities and Short-Term Rental Facilities to address length of license, density, and parking requirements, repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, providing a severability clause, providing for inclusion in the code, providing for penalties, and finding and terminating the meeting at which this ordinance is passed is open to the public as required by law. This ordinance comes to council on first reading.
Okay, and I have 2 cards tonight. First is Dana Gage. Is Dana here? All right, second will be Bill Wetterman if Bill's here. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Council. My name is Dana Gage, and I am the owner and operator of a short-term rental property at 821 Clay Avenue. We are located on the same block as the Findery backyard, right in the heart of downtown Waco. And we purchased the property in November of 2017. It was run down and dilapidated. We spent a lot of time and heart and money bringing it back to a place that we can be proud of. My son is a 2014 Baylor grad, and he has decided to make his home in Waco, and he operates the Airbnb. We opened in June of 2017, and we've been booked about 80% of the time. To date, we have had 50 sets of guests so far since June, and 75% of those folks are from out of state, and their only exposure has been what they've seen on Fixer Upper. So that's their impression of Waco when they get to town. Since we purchased the property in 2017, the uptick in Clay Avenue traffic has been significant, and our driveway is very narrow. The house was built in 1925. Cars, I guess, were tiny then, and it just frankly makes me incredibly nervous for the safety of our guests as they back out on Clay Avenue. I'm just waiting. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. They have a hard time navigating out of the driveway because we're sandwiched between 2 other properties. And many times on my surveillance camera, I've seen traffic come to a halt or they slam on their brakes to avoid contact with another vehicle. The problem is further exacerbated by the fact that my neighbor, who is a resident, parks his truck in the line of sight, so when they're backing out, our guests can't really see the oncoming traffic. And it's an incredibly dangerous situation. So I am definitely in favor for Collector Street having on-street parking. I think it would make a lot of sense for our guests, and The irony is that every weekend and during special events, frankly, people are parking in front of my property anyway, so it's ironic that the people that are paying tourism dollars to get to Waco and spend time in our city don't have the right to park in front of the property that they're paying to rent. Lastly, my neighbor keeps a pretty close eye on who parks where, and sadly has confronted my guests if they park in front on the street. And it's a somewhat embarrassing situation for me and a very confusing situation for my guests. And they don't understand why Waco doesn't allow on-street parking. And certainly in residential neighborhoods, I can understand, but we are in the heart of the city, zoned O2, and I'm definitely in favor, primarily for safety reasons, of having that option available to my guests.
Are there any questions for Ms. Gage? All right, thank you very much. Is Bill Wetterman here?
I'm Bill Wetterman. I'm the developer of the redevelopment of the Barron's Loft project. I'm here to speak to the revision in the proposed ordinance relating to the 5-unit minimum on the restrictions. As the ordinance is being proposed, it would allow the downtown core C4 zoning properties to be exempt from that, which obviously I think would be a benefit to the city. The Barron's is being redeveloped into 57 individual condos, single-family residences. It's really no longer a multifamily unit. It's no different in reality than a resort hotel. So the economic impact to the city, the property values that are going to increase, the hotel motel tax that they're going to receive, the impact, the positive impact on the downtown city businesses and services, the increased density and weekend population that it's going to bring to the downtown is going to benefit everybody. You know, the market so far has shown that we have people from across the country that are interested in investing in downtown Waco. Homecoming weekend, I had people touring from Florida, Arizona, California, Hawaii, all wanting to invest in downtown Waco, most of which have a relationship of some sort with Baylor. Alums, they're wanting the opportunity so that when they're not coming to town, then they have the ability to use their unit as a short-term rental to make it an economic investment for them. The current limit of 5 units seems to be arbitrary because it doesn't matter if you've got a 5-unit multifamily project or a 255-unit multifamily project, it's still limited to 5 units. But having said that, in this situation where if it's C4 zoning and it's downtown and it's commercial and it's no longer really a multifamily project, and I wouldn't be the only one that qualifies under this, there's other properties that I think that would bring an economic impact and benefit to the city. It seems to be, I don't know, as I said, it seems to be arbitrary. You know, I'm a big proponent of downtown, as some, if not most of you know. I've got a lot invested, several projects downtown. I'm focused solely on the downtown development, economic growth, and future development, not any of the outlying areas. So I just wanted to speak to council that I don't see that there's any negative here. The concerns that the university may have, the concerns that some of the neighborhood associations may have just simply don't apply. I mean, this is no different than the Hyatt place that's going to be built across the street, the Embassy Suites that's being built adjacent to it. And I think it's a real opportunity to allow people from across the country to invest in Waco that they wouldn't otherwise do.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions for Mr. Wetterman?
Well, one that is tangentially that involves this. So, I mean, my understanding, like on this one, for a development like Mr. Wetterman's, there's not one owner of the building that is renting out each of the, there's not one permit associated with the building. There would be, assuming the owners wanted to do this, there would be 57 different permits for this particular building, should they choose to do so?
Possibly.
And that's only for the type 3 though. So there could still be single family, there could still be owners in the condo that just live there and others that just want, so that was a misunderstanding, a misconception that I had, because there's one thing if there's one owner and turning the whole thing into a hotel by themselves with under one permit, but if they're individual owners of each unit, just wanting to have the individual decision to change that, just removing that 5, I don't know, that's a different animal to me.
Yep.
So I'd be in favor of that.
Okay.
So it's, right now it's 5 in the entire regime, or the condo regime?
That's correct.
That's just the way that our code reads.
Right. But it could come to a point where it is the same owner. Maybe not with this complex or one that is in existence, but in the future where that can happen. And so I think that's where I look at it also. It's the precedents that we're setting now for things that are to come in the future as well, which is quite honestly concerning to me.
Yeah, that's an interesting point with the way the revision is currently written. It says a short-term rental type 3 with individually owned units, but it doesn't really say that they're all separately owned. It's individually owned.
Right.
I think maybe we need a little work on that to make that distinction. So if it said, we may need to
Reword that some.
We could fix this on the second reading, though, couldn't we?
Yes, sir.
So if we chose to, we could approve it now and have staff address that concern between now and the next meeting, and not approve it unless we're happy with that revision. But you may have other concerns.
Yeah, I think I would personally feel more comfortable not
Just a
approving.
minute. Let me ask. I apologize for cutting you off. Do we have any more questions for Mr. Wetterman?
Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry.
Thank you. We'll close that comment section then and go to discussion.
I was just going to say, I would feel more comfortable eliminating that 4th bullet point that says removing the maximum number of units permitted, et cetera, et cetera. And then if we are going to reword it, then they come back to council and not approve that portion just yet until we get a revised bullet point or amendment.
I'm sorry, when you said number 4.
The 4th, where it says removing the maximum number of units permitted.
You're looking at the front sheet instead of the actual ordinance. So
Yes.
That's where we're.
First, yeah, he's looking at a 4th bullet under the agenda information sheet.
Okay.
Which is number 2.
Hector, you're saying
to
remove
eliminate
that one
number
on the
2.
first reading approval, but fix it up for the second reading if that's okay.
So I'm hearing 2 different things, and I just want to make sure I understand. So there's 2 options I think are being discussed, I believe. Councilmember Sabito I believe, is asking, nobody's made a motion yet, but you are discussing, and he's talking about approving the short-term rental ordinance as written without the provision that exempts individually owned provisions, and y'all approve that. That would go first reading, second reading, assuming y'all, and then staff would be asked to bring back another ordinance dealing with that issue to another meeting. It may be some other short-term rental issues, who knows, but bring that to another meeting. So I believe that's what you were asking.
I would feel more comfortable that way.
Okay, and then another council member, I believe the mayor had asked, could we approve this ordinance as it's written now and on second reading, just tighten up the language so that it's clear the individual owned versus separately owned, I think was the word, or something like that. And that could be done as well. So either of those are an option, but I think those are 2 different options.
So my concern about not approving that at all, that portion of it at all, until another revision, is that I know that we've been working on this for a long time, and it's taken us I know that the developer has been waiting a long time for us to get this in front of us. As I said, I think I want to be respectful of what each council member wants to do, but I do think we could approve it now, and if we're not comfortable with that portion of it, we could strike it at the next council meeting, if we're not comfortable with the revision that staff has made at that point. So that I just think either way is an option, but this would be the more expedient option.
I'm happy to just go ahead and make a motion.
Okay.
I'll make a motion that we approve. And then you can, the reason why is we've incentivized hotels across the street. We've given tax dollars for literal hotels across the street. We've given tax breaks and abatements and 380 grants. We've incentivized apartments, the riverfront. We've given tax breaks for apartments. So to me, it's a Hector, Councilmember Sabito, 100% respect where you're coming from. But from my perspective, where I land on this is it's a highly dense area where we've literally given money to achieve hotel and tourism and to achieve people living there. And so this is kind of both and so and they're not asking for money. We're just allowing them to do it. So I respect any dissent completely, but I don't have a problem with it. So I'm happy to make the motion.
And honestly, respectfully so, I hear you, but I also have been in meetings in neighborhood associations, especially the Downtown Neighborhood Association, where they are adamantly against this. And so it is only right that I listen to their concerns and try to do something about it. So it's not, to be quite honest with you, it's not even a personal thing, but it is definitely a constituent thing where people are saying we do not want this in our neighborhoods on Clay Avenue, especially.
But this is just C4, right? That's not Clay Avenue. Doesn't have any.
Well,
C4.
once again, though, but we are setting the precedence of what's to come in the future as well. So I'm thinking long-term, not just now or what's there now, but I'm thinking long-term as well, what's to come. And that's where I'm thinking of it as well.
And I'll say right now, I wouldn't be okay with this if it wasn't limited to C4 zoning downtown, so it doesn't extend to the houses on Clay. But because this is just for the urban core of, C4, I got the GIS map pulled up. That's why I feel more okay about it.
Okay. So we have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second it I'll second it.
Okay. I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
So I just want to be clear, Jen, City Attorney Ritchie, we can, even if we're approving it tonight, second reading, if we flip the entire fourth bullet.
The motion is to leave it as is.
Right. I understand that, but
Before we vote on it in the
getting
second
ready to
reading,
vote.
we can,
Okay.
if we're not happy with it,
Yes
we
on
can
this one,
strike.
we can still, second reading,
So-
take that fourth bullet
right.
out and vote on it.
Right, it's second reading, we can tighten up the language, and at second reading, y'all also on second reading could strike that fourth bullet.
Okay.
And we're all referring to the fourth bullet being the bullet in the agenda information sheet.
It's the actual number 2 on the ordinance in part.
13-471.
Yeah, 471. I think that I understand your perspective, Councilmember Sabito, about the dangers of a Pandora's box. Because there are certain things that in hotels and in apartment complexes you can vote with confidence about assurances of what they're going to do. When we're dealing in a hybrid thing, when it's obvious that we still continually need residences in downtown, and we are building plenty of hotels or resorts or that kind of business within that area. I understand that there's questions in that. So I am requesting that before, once this vote is complete, that we do have staff shore up some of this language, because the ambiguity in it I have doubts about what could happen in the future, and I don't want us to be in a negative position.
Yeah, but I read it the first time without giving thought to that, and I see the concern at this point. Okay. All right, any further discussion? Please poll the council.
Holmes. Meek. Kennard. Sabido. Bearfield.
No.
Deaver.
Yes, that motion carries on first reading. Ordinance 2019-940.
An ordinance of the City of Waco, Texas, providing the comprehensive plan be amended to change the land use designation from suburban residential to urban residential on property described as 0.31 acres, more or less, out of the W.L. Swain survey, abstract number 40 in McLennan County, Texas, being part of that called 0.326 acre tract described as Tract 1 and conveyed to Billie Jean Donaldson and wife Norma Jean Donaldson by a deed dated March 14, 1996, and recorded in volume 1865, page 513 of the McLennan County Deed Records. Property ID number 103331, known as 6301 North 19th Street, providing that the Code of Ordinances of the City of Waco be amended by revising Section 28-247 and Chapter 28 zoning of said code, providing the zoning map shall be changed so that the property described above shall be changed from R1B to O3 district classification, providing for penalties, providing a severability clause, and finding and determining the meeting at which this ordinance is passed is open to the public as required by law. This ordinance was approved by a 6-0 council vote on first reading on November 19th, 2019.
Is there a motion?
Move for approval on second reading.
Second.
Any discussion? Please poll the council.
Holmes.
Aye.
Meek.
Yes.
Kennard. Sabido. Fairfield. Deaver.
Yes, that motion carries. Ordinance 2019-941.
City of Waco, Texas, providing the Code of Ordinances of the City of Waco be amended by revising Section 28-247 and Chapter 28 zoning of said code, providing the zoning map shall be changed that certain property described as Lots 6B and 7, Block 36, Glenwood Addition, known as 2401 Austin Avenue, shall be changed from O2 district classification and become and be designated into O3 district classification, providing for penalties, providing a severability clause, and finding and determining the meeting at which this ordinance is passed is open to the public as required by law. This ordinance was approved by a 5-0 council vote on first reading on November 19th, 2019.
Okay, and Councilmember Meek has filed an affidavit of substantial interest on this item and has left the room. Is there a motion?
I move for approval on second reading.
Second. Oh, good honor. You got it.
Any discussion? Please poll the council.
Aye.
Kennard.
Yes.
Sabido.
Yes.
Fairfield. Deaver.
Yes, that motion carries. Ordinance 2019-942.
An ordinance of the City of Waco, Texas, creating a plan unit development, PUD, approving the concept plan for the PUD and changing the zoning classification from C2 to a planned unit development on certain property described as a 7.023 acre tract of land in the TJ Chambers Survey, Abstract Number 7, McLennan County, Texas, and being out of the remaining portion of a called 101.9 acre tract of land described in Volume 119, page 536 of the deed records of McLennan County, Texas, located in the 2400 block of South New Road, and 2, 0.4900 acre tract of land, the 0.49 acre tract situated in the TJ Chambers Survey, Abstract Number 7, McLennan County, Texas, and being a portion of Lot 7, Block 1, Rural King Plaza Addition, said addition being recorded in instrument number 2010-021754 of the official public records of McLennan County, Texas. Said Lot 7 being described in instrument number 2019-012758 of the official public records of McLennan County, Texas, and known as 4017 South Jack Colgan Expressway, and located northwest of the intersection of South New Road and South Jack Colgan Expressway. To 1, add property to the PUD, said property being described as a 0.6361 acre tract of land situated in the Thomas J. Chambers Survey, Abstract Number 7, City of Waco, McLennan County, Texas, and being a portion of Lot 7, Block 1, Rural King Plaza Addition, known as 4017 South Jack Colgan Expressway. 2, remove property from the PUD, said property being 0.4900 acre tract. And 3, otherwise revise the concept plan to reconfigure access for the development. Rezone the 0.6361 acre tract and rezone the 0.4900 acre tract. Repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinance in conflict herewith, providing for penalties, providing a severability clause, and finding and determining the meeting at which this ordinance is passed is open to the public as required by law. This ordinance was approved by a 6-0 council vote on first reading on November 19, 2019.
Okay, and I have one card here from Mark Furman. Mark, would you like to address the council? Please state your name and address.
Mark Furman, 220 South 4th Street here in Waco. I'm the attorney at Beard Colgan, the representative for Quick Trip. Wanted to thank the council for its unanimous approval on first reading, and I'm available to answer any questions if council has any.
Any questions? Okay, thank you. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Approval on second reading.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Please poll the council.
Holmes.
Aye.
Meek. Kennard.
Yes.
Sabido.
Yes.
Fairfield. Deaver.
Yes, that motion carries. Ordinance 2019-943.
An ordinance abandoning a portion of an alley described as 0.076 acres located in the LB Daughtry addition, per plat of record under McLennan County Clerk's File Number 2006-039714 of the official public records of McLennan County, Texas, and located between South 15th Street and South 16th Street at Daughtry Avenue, retaining a general utility as easement, finding no duty to maintain, authorizing the city manager to execute quitclaim deeds, providing a severability clause, and finding and terminating the meeting at which this ordinance is passed is open to the public as required by law. This ordinance was approved by a 6-0 council vote on first reading on November 19th, 2019.
Motion for approval on second reading.
Second.
Any discussion? Please poll the council.
Holmes.
Aye.
Meek.
Yes.
Kennard. Sabido. Bearfield. Deaver.
Yes, that motion carries. Ordinance 2019-944.
An ordinance amending Chapter 28 zoning of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Waco, Texas, for the purpose of amending Section 28-1 to revise the definitions for indoor amusement facility and indoor recreational facility, repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, providing a severability clause, providing for inclusion in the code, providing for penalties, and finding and determining the meeting at which this ordinance is passed is open to the public as required by law. This ordinance was approved by a 6-0 council vote on first reading on November 19th, 2019.
Is there a motion?
Move approval on second reading.
Second.
Any discussion? Please poll the council.
Holmes.
Aye.
Meek.
Yes.
Kennard. Sabido. Bearfield. Deaver.
Yes, that motion carries. We'll now open the hearing of visitors. During the hearing of visitors section of the agenda, we provide an opportunity for any citizen to present concerns or address issues that are not matters for consideration listed on the agenda. Council is unable to conduct discussion, but will listen, ask staff to look into concerns, and provide follow-up. Please provide registration information so that staff can contact you if necessary. If you have handouts, please let us know at the beginning of your presentation, and staff will distribute those to the council. If you are unable to approach the podium due to physical limitations, a microphone is available to be brought to you. When called to the podium, please state your name and address for the record. Each speaker must limit comments to 3 minutes. If you are speaking on behalf of a group of 10 or more individuals present, please have those persons stand at the beginning of your comments, and you will be given 10 minutes to address the council. Please note that if you stand in support of a person getting 10 minutes to speak, you are forfeiting your right to speak on that item. Please try not to be repetitive, and please do not applaud. I have 3 cards tonight. The first is Harrison Ward. Next.
Thank you. I'm Harrison Ward, 3045 Bosque Ridge Road, Crawford. Since Dr. Northcutt could not be here tonight, I will read his prepared statement. I regret not being able to speak at council tonight, but at this moment I'm on a flight to Madrid to take part in the Global UN Climate Conference, the COP25. My goal is to learn more about our climate emergency, especially solutions, and bring this back to Waco. Has brought more bad news about our climate. The UN Environmental Program reported that given the current pledges of each nation, the world is on course to reach a global temperature increase of 3.2 degrees centigrade by 2100. With that increase, large portions of our planet will be uninhabitable, and the remaining Earth will experience worsening heat waves, droughts, crop failures, floods, wildfires, superstorms, and extinctions. But there is hope. We have the technology now to shift our planet from fossil fuels to clean, renewable energy, but our time is very limited. Inger Anderson, United Nations Environmental Program Executive Director, stated in November that to reach our 1.5 centigrade degree goal, every city, region, business, and individual needs to act now. Thus, in February 2018, we began our Go Renewable Waco campaign with the goal of a Waco of 100% powered by renewable energy. After almost 2 years of pressing the city to act on climate, an energy guidance document was developed by Kelly Holchek and Brian Shaw. We congratulate Ms. Holchek on her efforts to compile city data for this document, but the stated goals are weak and vague. Quote, reduced environmental impact, particularly air pollution, unquote. Climate change mitigation, the most important goal in 2019, is not even mentioned. Why? Because, as we noted back in March, Mr. Shaw is a climate science denier. Articles and publications like the Texas Tribune documented his science denial back in 2014, and his lecture at the City Council meeting in March 2019 made clear he still holds this dangerous position. His climate science denial contradicts essentially every climate scientist on Earth, the U.S. Conference of Mayors, and the current reality of climate breakdown we observe around the world, from massive deadly wildfires in California to records floods destroying priceless artifacts in Venice. Therefore, the Waco Friends of Peace/Climate will prepare a Citizens Climate Action Plan for Waco based on up-to-date science. This plan will correct Shaw's errors and offer actions that the city can begin to institute immediately for the future of Waco's children, as the science dictates. We plan to release this document in January or February.
Thank you. Next is Teresa Porter. Teresa Porter, thank you.
Thank you.
Teresa Porter, 1125 Taylor. Brought some stuff for y'all to throw in the recycle bin after tonight's meeting. The first page, current map of the EVSE charging stations that my electric car can use. It's really only 2 of them accessible to me because I have no plans on being a guest at the Holiday Inn. I put 3 little dots on the map on the bottom, places where I really need a charging station. I have a short range, so y'all can make a lot of money off of me by putting charging stations right there or someplace close. The next page shows an example of a level 2 charger, just like they have up in Hillsboro at the Outlet Mall. Me being a gearhead, I stumbled across the Rosenbauer fire truck that Volvo Penta is designing, and it's really cool. Y'all 100% electric. BYD has opened a factory in California, and they are producing some really awesome electric heavy-duty vehicles that have some pretty amazing ranges, including buses and garbage trucks. A while back, y'all had the financial report, and I remember thinking that y'all's numbers were just a little low on your returns on your investment. So I threw something in here on Domini and Green Century funds. You might want to check them out. They're different kind of investment products. If you don't like investing in war and dirty things, then check them out. One of the things that we seem to have a problem with in Waco is glass, and there's currently no way to recycle it. There actually is a way. We can turn it into concrete and glass countertops. If you go to icestoneusa.com or look them up on YouTube, there's some really cool videos. This little printout of the website doesn't do it justice. Another thing we also have a problem with is tires. What do we do with all these used tires? Well, there's a company in Miami that's turning them into buildings. And there's another company, I forget where they're at, they're turning it into pathways, jogging trails, sidewalks, stuff like that. I don't know about y'all, but I'm getting at that age where them concrete sidewalks kind of hurt my knees after a mile. So it'd be great if we could pull the glass and the tires out of the landfill, and maybe we could build this at Cobb's. Another cool thing, solar isn't just for rooftops. They also make photovoltaic windows now. Again, my printer didn't do it justice, internet. They also make exterior blinds that produce solar energy. These can be mounted onto existing buildings, and they're really cool. Again, I couldn't get the video to print. Another really cool thing, smart flowers. These things are so cool. Think sunflowers, but solar. And of course, the ugliest thing I've ever wanted, a wind tree. So look it up on the internet.
Thank you. The last card I have is Ephraim Herring.
Ephraim Herring, 1046 Chestnut, Waco, Texas. I'll make this real quick and brief. I guess you got it earlier that I didn't. The tax abatement agreement. I know there's some changes y'all put in election, but I have 6 concerns, and these concerns are, on the tax abatement, you're not charged for some fees when you do the tax abatement. The problem I have with that is that's given to the contractor, not to the landowner. So if the landowner does not meet the requirements that we made a tax abatement agreement, the landowner has to pay it back. But if it's going to the contractor versus the landowner, that's a problem because the landowner doesn't know, because the landowner gets a price. Like me, for example, I got $109,000 for a house. That's what I was told before I even got in a tax abatement agreement. Well, the contractor now has made money off of me doing a tax abatement because he didn't tell me anything about tax abatement. There should be, so that's A, 1. B, there should be, when I sign tax abatement agreement, that document should be given to the landowner at the time he signs it. A copy should be signed, not held in by the contractor and given to the contractor like y'all did. And then the landowner has to go and get an open record request, and after several open record requests, then I finally get a copy of the tax abatement. That tax abatement should come straight to the landowner when he signs the documentation, not to the contractor, like this one happened. Other question, inspection. When the inspectors come out there, the inspectors should have a copy of the tax abatement agreement within the area. That way, when he does an inspection, he's got to make sure that the land meets the requirements that we made agreement with the city. And not passing property that's not in court is in violation of the agreement that the landowner made with the city. Second, when you get ready, if the landowner's getting a problem with the contractor, right now where y'all got it set up, I cannot fire that contractor because I got to wait to come and see the council to tell them I'm going to make a difference in firing that contractor. There should be some documentation showing that where the landowner can fire that contractor without coming to city council, changing the plans. And last but not least, all orders should be met. There should be some documentation given to the landowner telling that all orders are met on tax abatement agreement. So when the landowner comes asking, are these done, he has the documentation. Right now, I have no documentation. I had to go open record request to get documentation to make sure that everything is met in accordance with tax abatement. Got a problem with that, because right now I'm still trying to create everything else. But those are the 6 items that I should have came in earlier, but I was going through reading your documentation. There's no documentation in the changes or solutions that I have going to the landowner. And Texas law says the landowner is responsible for all his property. And even in your city ordinance, it states that. But yet y'all refuse, and the inspection department refuse to give the landowner the documentation he needs. Y'all have a blessed day.
Thank you. All right, is there anyone else who would like to address the council? Seeing no one, we'll close the hearing of visitors. Are there any council member reports on committees or boards or commissions liaison visits? I want to be sure everybody knows that we have the city manager's Christmas holiday reception 2 weeks from tonight. At what time?
At 5 o'clock, right after the work session.
Right after the work session, and that'll be just next door here at the convention center. And we hope to see you there. There being no further business, we will adjourn the meeting at 7:12 p.m. Thank you.